boys and girls. I am back with a new video on yet another modification that I've made to my Indian Scout bobber. It's actually a revisit to something that I've already changed out. And I know I said in my last video that I felt complete with my project and I don't think that I was going to be making any more changes. But there was a member that commented on the video, and I think he said it best, where a motorcycle is really just an extension of the rider. And so, you know, I find that to be true. As you change, as things change in your life, those changes can be reflected on your ride. And your ride is just an expression of you, an extension of you. So that's where I'm at. And with that said, what I ended up changing out was my Corbin Saddle seat. For those that have seen either of my last two videos, you've seen the seat on my bike. It's great. Some of you guys may have this model on your ride, and for anybody that has a Corbin, you know just how comfortable they can be. The quality of the products that they make, it's insane. It was one of my first purchases, and I had never regretted it. But I will get into why I changed this out a little bit towards the end of the video. But in the meantime, let me show you guys what I'm rocking now. So this is my solo spring saddle and passenger pillion pad from Alex Leathercraft. They are a German company. Looks great. They're a German company, and before I purchased this combo, along with the mounting plate, I did reach out to them before I purchased this a couple of times when I was working out the custom work and to get some questions answered, and they were super responsive and really nice, and they have a ton of options. I'll put the link to their website in the description. They have a lot of different color options, they have sizing options, different style of seats. It's endless what the possibilities are in terms of what your taste is. What I went with was a vintage brown. I went with the extra large seat and extra large passenger pillion pad. And then it comes a little bit lighter than this in terms of the coloring, but I darkened it a little bit with the dye that I introduced to you guys the last video, so that it can match the straps that I have on my saddlebags, as well as the grip wrap and the wrap that I put on my crash bars, and all matches up very well. And it was nice to sort of go back to the brown on black look, have that theme going. Like I said, I bought the Corbin really early on when I first purchased the bike. For those that have a Scout bobber, you know it's not the most comfortable, so most people end up switching out the seat and the pipes, but that's usually amongst one of the first changes, and so I did. And then since then I had added the bags, the wrap, and so the colors didn't quite match. So that's not why I changed it, but it was nice to, you know, when I was going for this new seat, to be able to match it up and make it thematic with the rest of the bike. Like I said, I got an extra large. I wanted something that was very wide. There are a few different companies that make similar style seats, tractor seats, spring saddles. They have different looks, different names, but for the most part, in terms of what they, you know, how they look, in terms of the eye test, there's a bunch of different companies that make it. The reason why I went with Alex Leathercraft, and you can see the logo right underneath, really was because of the passenger pillion pad. I'm not sure how many other folks may be in the same boat, but I've looked at plenty of different companies. I wanted a passenger option. And the issue with a lot of the companies that make these kinds of seats is that they don't make an option for the Scout bobber, for the passenger. They make it for the Scout models, which are a little bit longer. They tend to have a bolt towards the front end that bolts onto the fender itself, which the bobber doesn't have. And because it has a shorter fender, the sizing wouldn't really match up well. And so this is one of the few, if not only, companies that had the matching option to mount it for the bobber. And like I said, it's low profile. The great thing is you can choose not just the size of the seats themselves, but also the thickness of the padding. So I knew I wanted as much padding as possible as the rider. I rarely have my daughter or a passenger on here, but I wanted the option, so I didn't make it too thick so that it was still, you know, sleek. And I do have an air cushion for those longer rides. But that was really the main reason why I bought this. And so there's actually two different ways to mount the passenger pillion. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 mounting points for suction cups. I only have 4 in the corners. I didn't put in the middle because of my saddlebag straps. And it's on there pretty good. Let me see. I mean, it's on there pretty good. It's not shifting or anything. But if anybody wanted to fix it more permanently to the bike, there is a screw hole right in the middle of the pad underneath. And so you could theoretically drill a hole into your fender and then just bolt it on underneath and fix it more permanently that way. I don't know that I want to put a hole in the bike. I don't know how permanent as things change. I want to make the seat, but it's there if you want it, which is great. In terms of the comfort, it feels amazing. I know a lot of other seats that offer this style of seating for the bobber. The seat isn't quite as curved for your bottom. So it was nice to sort of see that's one of the reasons why I went with this model as opposed to some of the others that are offered on the website. And if, like I said, it feels amazing. I got extra large, so it was as wide as possible. I don't know what it feels like on the road yet, of course, but once I give it a ride, I'll be reporting on that. Now, the reason why I switched out the Corbin, if you guys saw it on the bike, or if you see it now, this is the mounting bracket, and that goes down here. You take out the stock bracket, take out that rubber piece, and it mounts there onto the fender, which isn't necessarily an issue, but the problem with a saddle that has the passenger tail on it is that if you ever want to access the battery compartment or any of the electricals, and you happen to have, like I have, a Jin's Chopper sissy bar, which comes with an extra mounting plate, it's really kind of a headache when you need to access this because you have to take out the sissy bar, take out the mounting plate, then take out the stock mount to the fender, take the bolts from the seat, and then finally you get to the battery compartment. That might not sound too terrible for some folks, or if you're just doing that once, but like myself, I had to change the battery last year, so that was a little bit of a headache. For those that have seen my last video, the dealership knocked out my lens to my brake light, so I had to take everything out and access the wiring, and so I had to do it again then. And it's not so much the process of taking everything off and putting it back on that is a headache, although it is. It's really the process of fixing the two brackets back onto the fender. If it gets really cumbersome, I think I mentioned in the last video, it gets really difficult to line up all the holes, and it's super frustrating. It's super frustrating. So that was the main reason. Once I dealt with that a couple of times, I didn't want to continue doing that. And as the bike gets older, or as I install new components, whether it's heated grips or whatever it is, and I have to get in here, I don't want to deal with all of that. So that was really the main reason for that change. But I still have this girl. She was amazing. If you folks are considering a Corbin and you are not going to have the sissy bar, that's one less headache that you have to worry about. And I would totally recommend the Corbin. For the styling, if this is something more in your realm, again, Alex Leathercraft is amazing. And I'm actually going to be contacting them again. In my last video, I showed you guys I had a passenger back pad for the sissy bar. It's black with white stitching, double stitching, diamond stitching like the Corbin. But with this new seat, I'm looking to get it reupholstered. Unfortunately, with riding season coming up, they have a ton of back orders at Alex Leathercraft. So I won't be able to send it in until the summertime, but I'm going to eventually send that in to get the leather matched up with these guys and really complete the look. It's gonna be amazing. So In any case, that's it for this video. I will say that I plan on vlogging, getting a GoPro and doing some vlogs of the riding season, and really doing some more in-depth videos on some of the modifications that I had already talked about in the previous 2 videos. In the last couple of videos, I sort of just showed you what I've done and where you can find the items if you're interested. But I think it'll be good for those that may still be considering it, just to get a sense of the actual functionality of some of these items, whether it's the phone holder, the cup/phone mount, the saddlebags, how much they can fit in them, how they are on ride, the headlights, the headlight that I have on here, the brake lights, really all the items, and sort of doing more of an in-depth breakdown on not just the installation process, but really the functionality and how they perform. So keep an eye out for those. Those will be coming during the spring and the summer. But if you guys have any questions about this product or anything else that I may have talked about, please hit me up and I'll be happy to answer. Until then, stay safe, stay on 2 wheels. Have a good one.